If it's 2,000, I'll flip my check over.
Hi everyone, welcome to Take Away with Irvin 88, where we share insights about the real estate industry. I'm Jason.
I'm Benny.
I'm Chantel.
And I'm Jackie.
So today we'll be talking about a new launch, which is the top of the town, Chuan Park. So what we're going to do, we're going to share about the developer, project location, pricing, and the potential growth story. And in the end, we will decide whether all of us are going to place a check or not for Chuan Park.
Yeah, personally, I like the last segment the most.
So Chuan Park is going to be launched in a few months' time, and why I say it's the hottest launch in the town because of this pent-up demand. So the last launch in the area was actually Scala, which was in 2009, and that's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll pass on to Chantel to share more about the project itself.
Yeah, indeed. So Chuan Park is actually an en bloc site, and it actually went through quite a bit of drama before the deal actually got properly brokered. So the sale first was brokered in 2022, and there were some legal cases that the developer have to go through, but thankfully they managed to conclude it in 2023, and that's why they are ready to be launched this year. So it's actually a joint venture between Kingsford and MCC. And for this project itself, the land size is about 400,000 square feet, and
That's
with a
huge.
total number of 916
Wow.
units.
Wow.
Quite a big
So
project.
yes, there will be 5 blocks, and of which 3 blocks is 22 story, and 2 blocks will be 19 stories. So good to know this because that means that if you're on a higher floor, you probably might enjoy some unblocked views if you're on facing the landed side or some unblocked side. Yeah, and also in terms of the landscaping, if you're familiar with Normanton Park, I think it's good to expect something that is quite similar to Normanton Park, maybe a slightly smaller scale one. So you do get full facilities and also 2 shops within the project itself. And good thing to know is that it is 1 minute walk to Lorong Chuan MRT.
Wow.
But provided you are on which block, given that this is such a big project, right? So yes,
Looking
caveat.
at the launches these days,
Yeah.
right? How often can you get a launch that is actually 1 minute walk to
Yeah.
MRT?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright, let me talk about the developer. So this is developed between Kingsford and NCC Land. So let's talk about MCC Land first. Seneca Residences and Square, One Vernon, Landmark, just a few projects to mention. But let's talk more about Kingsford. So Kingsford was in the limelight for the wrong reason due to many complaints from these 2 projects,
Yep.
Kingsford Water Bay and Kingsford Hillview Peak. So the story is like this. So Kingsford bought Normanton Park in October 2017. But in the early 2019, the developer was not allowed to do any selling until it was
Yeah, I
TOP.
remember this, man.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you all remember when driving along AYE, the building is already in construction,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
not yet launched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting. So the no sale license came about when BCA found that the developer's projects, Kingsford Water Bay, had failed to meet requirements under the Building Control Act and Regulation for Works. However, luckily, eventually Normanton Park was launched 2 years later in 2021, and after that the no sale ban was lifted and more than 30% of units were sold.
Wow.
Okay, in fact, right, just within a span of 1.5 years, all 1,862 units were sold.
Wow.
Wow, that's an amazing feat, like more than 1,000 units.
And in 1.5 years
Yeah.
only, yeah. And the thing is that all the units, right, especially for Normanton Park, were checked by BCA and they attained the quality mark certification.
Yeah, and this is the only project that come with 100% check by VCA.
Kudos to BCA. Woo.
Yeah. So after all the saga they went through about the no sale ban and everything, right? So Normanton Park actually proved all the doubters wrong. So on the ground, right, I actually was there to visit one of my clients. I actually heard very good reviews. They were all matches, all the good reviews, the finishing, the fixtures, everything was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I must say that actually when Normanton Park was being launched, right, I also was one of those who is really apprehensive about the project, given the bad press and all. But recently, I visited Normanton Park with my buyers, right? So they were looking for own stay home, and we actually went to look around a lot of other newly completed projects and also some of the older projects. And because the buyers, they were very they really need a place for their own stay, and they want something with good views. So eventually, right, they were really impressed with the project, and they bought a 3-bedroom there simply because they were comparing the facilities and everything, and they were just so wowed by it. So really,
Nice.
thank you BCA.
So I guess the 100% check by BCA really did the job.
Yes, I think so. It is really good.
So now the question is, will they continue to strive well in Chuan Park, which is their testament project number 2? They will have my vote for that. So
Yeah.
Chantel, Chantel is going to tell
on
us
the
more about the
location.
location.
That's right. So Chuan Park is actually in an area that I'm really familiar with. So it's actually located in, of course, Lorong Chuan, and it's in a mature area, kind of like between Bishan and like the edge of Serangoon Central. So it's like if you see it as a triangle, right? Like there's Bishan, there's Serangoon Central, and then there is Serangoon Gardens. And Lorong Chuan is actually kind of in the middle. So that means that it's very easy for you to get the amenities, or to go to the famous Chom Chom.
Yeah.
So Chom Chom is like another Holland village, I feel. You get your hawker food there, you
Yep.
get plenty of restaurant options, amenities like supermarket and banks. And even through the night, it gets very, very lively.
Yes, exactly. Hence, like you do get very easy access to food options and amenities within these three areas, lah. Yeah, and it's also considered like a prime area in Serangoon, as this area has a collection of condo and landed enclave. And why I know this because last time I used to study in Nanyang JC, right? So
Wow.
if I have long breaks like for classes, right, then I will go and take a walk along all the landed enclave. So that's why like I know that the area is quite atas, yeah. So. And also besides being in like a more atas residential area, right, it is also close to a lot of good schools. So for example, within 1 kilometers, you do get schools like St. Gabriel, CHIJ, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Chuan Presbyterian, Yangzhen, and if you were to spread out to 2 kilometers, there's like even more schools.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually this school factor I feel is a very good strategy for buyers of Chuan Park because likely the future buyers of Chuan Park, they will still pay a premium for this, and parents who are always willing to pay a premium for units that's near to good schools.
Yeah. And also like besides primary schools, there's also like ample selection of secondary school, like the closest one being Zhonghua Secondary School, St. Gabriel, and if you go towards the Bishan side, there's a Cat High, and many others. So in terms of junior colleges, Nanyang Junior College is just like 5 minutes walk away,
Wow.
and then Eunoa in the Bishan area is also not too far.
Not too far.
Yeah, and besides junior college, there's also international school. The Australian International School is also just nearby.
Yeah, so for investors, right, you surely be able to rent out to tenants who want to place their kids in this school because it's just really just a short walk away.
Yeah, just next door only.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. And you are right next to the Lorong Chuan MRT station, right, which is
That's
on the
the best.
Circle Line. And it is one stop to Next and also one stop to Bishan, of which, right, like Next is like a interchange to change to the Northeast Line. And then if you're going to Bishan, then it's an interchange for the Red Line, the North-South Line. So I would say that it's very easy access to many different parts of the place. Yeah.
So Chantel, do you know, is it going to be sheltered to the MRT?
We don't have confirmed information yet, but I do think that it will make sense to have a sheltered link to the MRT.
Definitely.
Okay, so next let me talk more about the pricing. The developer for Chuan Park submitted a bid price of $890 million. So including the upgrading premium of $165 million, the estimated land cost price per square foot will be around 1,200. There is no development charge compared to other developments incurring this additional hefty price. And I'm looking based on sgprops calculation. After including construction costs and developers' profit margin, the estimated launch prices should be around 2,500 per square foot. So in comparison with neighboring projects, Scala completed in 2013 is averaging a PSF of about 1,700 per square foot.
Okay.
The Spring Bloom about 1,450 per square foot, and Chiltern Park about 1,350 per square foot. But do take note, all these 99 years leasehold projects have already passed the 10-year-old mark and are not considered new projects anymore. So if we put in comparison with new launches closer to Chuan Park, Amo Residences, located in another mature estate, Amokyo, was launched and sold out in 2022, was averaging about 2,100 per square foot. And the upcoming Lentor area with prices already averaging about 2,003 to 2,004 per square foot.
I think given that Chuan Park is in a more central location compared to the Lentor area, I think a 100 to 200 PSF difference is still fair. I mean, if people really like prefer like the more central location, so I do think that if the developer choose to sell below 2,500 on launch day, right, this project will likely sell well. So I guess it depends on the pricing strategy that the developer wants to take.
But at the end of the day, I think developer will also want to do well on the sales date. So I guess they will really try to price at least the launch day units attractively also.
Yeah, a bit more competitively.
Yep.
Okay, so on the growth story part, what's the growth story on Chuan Park, right? So back in June, URA actually just announced that there will be a new GLS. So that is in between the Chuan and also the new tech park, which is the commercial side.
Not too far.
Yeah, not too far. So the new plot name is called Chuan Grove, and it will be targeted to launch by December 2024. And the land size is around 170,000 square feet, estimated to have about 550 units with a plot of 3.0.
Wow. So this project will likely be more dense than Chuan Park, given that it's a smaller land size, but still quite a number of units.
Yes, definitely. So actually GLS will be more dense than Chuan Park for sure. And likely that actually once this GLS is confirmed, the developer sales price will be higher than the current Chuan Park price. That's what we foresee. And for en bloc wise, there are a few different projects around Chuan Park that have en bloc potential. Example like what Jason mentioned just now, the Children Park. The lease commenced from 1991 and it's already 33 years old. And balance lease 66 years. And next to it, there's Spring Bloom. The lease commenced started from 1995 and balance lease only left like 70 years only. So all these potential en bloc project, right, will likely act as a safety net for the pricing for Chuan Park in the future.
Yeah. And I think it's also interesting, right, to note like the trajectory of like the growth in projects that's in mature area. So for example, like Trivista in Toa Payoh, which is quite near to Serangoon area also, it actually TOPs in like 2012, and we can see that in the past 15 years, right, there has been steady growth. The PSF growth is about 98%, which is really impressive. But of course,
super
noting
impressive.
that like Trivista actually came in at a golden time of Singapore real estate, like before there is TDSR and all this, right? So it actually have a very remarkable growth in that sense.
And also before COVID.
Yes, exactly. So those were the golden times. Yeah, but if we were to track back like closer to us, right? Gem Residences, which TOP in 2020, also charts in like a 24% PSF growth. Yeah, so I believe that Chuan Park, right, will be a popular option for upgraders from BTO that is in the Bidadari and also Northeast areas, which these are some of these areas you actually can see $1 million HDBs already. Like for example, in the Boon Keng area, right? Like the St. George area that currently just MOP, there's a cluster over there. We see quite a number of 4-room flats there already transacted in the $1 million range.
Wow.
So these could be potential upgraders who, if they still want to be kind of like in the Northeast area, right, then they would probably see Chuan Park as a suitable project for them. And I think it's also interesting to note, right, that like Woodley Residences, that is not too far from Chuan Park, right? We already see transactions that is in the 2,300 to 2,400 PSF done. So given this already done, right? I think like let's say if developer really choose to price 2,500, right? It's really like not that far fetched. Yeah, and okay, interesting thing to note, right, about Woodley Residences, right, is that I noted that the larger size unit, the PSF is actually higher than a smaller size unit. So
Usually not the case, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I think like kind of like projects in these areas might be more suited for people who are looking for larger size own stay. So probably this is a group of buyers who are willing to kind of pay a premium for it. Yeah. Yep.
So you're referring like to the landed owners who like the right size,
Yes.
to, like within.
Yes, exactly. So like so actually last year I was doing a project called Hillock Green in the Lentor area, right? So I actually do have a buyer who he came into the show flat, and then he actually is living in one of the landed houses near the Lentor area, and he told me that he's retiring and he's looking to right size his place. So that's why he eventually bought a 4-bedroom in Hillock Green itself. So I do think that in the Chuan Park area, right, we could see similar profile types where landed owners in the nearby areas, because they are so used to being in the area, right, but maybe the house is too big for them already and they want the right size. These are also potential buyers who will actually buy Chuan Park. So overall, I think like the location and size of this project, right, suits the profile of being an evergreen project type that can appeal to different groups of people, and it can be resilient with time. Yeah.
Agree.
So now the key question, the golden question, are we going to place a check or not? All right, so for me, Honestly, I'm about 50-50 here. So
Okay.
let me explain to you why. Okay, we have seen historically, as what Chantel mentioned, the projects such as like Gem Residences, which sold at more than 50% on launch date due to the pent-up demand. So the same phenomenon could also happen in Chuan Park.
Yep.
And not forgetting, I feel that this is a very safe choice, being very good location, 1 minute to MRT. But I'm really concerned about the price point because there is really no safety net in the sense that neighboring projects, because the neighboring projects, they are not actually pricing very close to the PSF at what Chuan Park is going to price at. So for me, I will probably place a check, but I just want to see what's the indicative prices like on the day itself. Yeah, so I'm a 50-50 here. So let me just put it down first.
Okay, so for me, I agree, Jason. For me, I'm not a fan of mega developments. My personal preference is probably projects around the size of 300 to 500 units. So it doesn't get overly congested. But having said that, Chuan Park is very attractive to me in many, many ways. The location we talked about earlier, the recent build quality of the developer, these factors will lean me towards placing a check, and I would probably do so for one of the smaller units, like a 2-bedroom. But I am still 50-50. So
Also 50-50.
which is why I will also put a
Okay.
check on the table and wait till the
Okay,
launch
still
day.
50-50 already. How
Okay.
about you all?
Yes. So I think I will put a check for this project because I think just now I already share a lot of good things about this project, right? I believe that it is a first mover in the Chuan area, and other projects that will get unblocked in future, right, will also likely sell for a higher price, which can support the future bright price growth of this project. And right now, right, this project itself is the closest to the MRT station and is a big land plot. So usually projects with this kind of characteristics, right, they do hold very good value over a long time. So I do think that it has good potential to remain resilient through property cycles. But that saying so, right, because this is a mega project, so I think it's important to choose the right kind of units because you do get competition when you exit the project in future. So that's why I think it does kind of make sense, right, to put in a check during the launch day first, right, just to have a first pick of selection of units. And of course, for me, even though like my position is that 2,500 is kind of like safe given the current market condition, but if the developer choose to be like really aggressive and like price lower than that, say like if it's like 2,100 or 2,200 PSF, right, then I think the project will sell very well. So
Pricing.
Okay.
excited.
Thanks, Chantal.
If it's 2,000, I'll flip my check over.
Okay, so personally for myself, I will, because I always like the Chuan area, gives me the atas vibe. And on top of that, knowing that there's upcoming GLS nearby, so I think there's really a confident boost in terms of price point. And also not to mention that there are potential en bloc of the nearby projects as well. So yes, I will put down my check.
Two versus two.
Okay, so that was Chantel and Jackie is going to put a check. Me and Benny, we are going to show flat to take a look at the indicative prices. So kind of like 50-50 here, but it's anyone's guesses because if
We
the
are,
price
both
was
of
gonna
us
go
are
up,
standing on the edge.
we're gonna know.
Yeah.
Right, so on behalf of the rest, thank you for watching our project review on Chuan Park. If you like the video, please give us a like or subscribe to us. And if you think this video is very useful for people that you know that's looking at Chuan Park, please share the video with them. Or if you look at considering for any other project reviews that you want us to do, drop us a DM or comment us. Else, we'll see you soon. See you. Bye.
Bye.